If you want to avoid that story of your own, it was a dark and stormy night and you were woken up out of bed and you jumped up and said, "What is that noise?" And then you realized it was your inverter telling you that you're out of power, you're out of power. If you'd like to avoid that, this is a good way to do that. So hi everyone, welcome back to my next video. Well, today, as you can see, we're going to do a product review. And this is a generator, obviously. It's a Champion generator. But what's unusual about this is in my entire time of making videos, I have never reviewed a single generator. In fact, I have told people don't get generators. There are times when you should get a generator, but they're few and far between. So here I just bought myself, I bought this myself, no one sent it to me, a generator. And so there's a little story behind that. Let me tell you the little story behind that. It was a dark and stormy night. Doesn't every good story start with that? Every good masterpiece of writing? It was a dark and stormy night. And in the middle of the night, there was this loud, piercing noise in our hero's ambulance. And our hero was disturbed to the depth of his being. And he said, "What is this? Oh, what is this?" And he recognized it as the sound of his inverter going crazy because the power was low. And he thought, oh no, I'm running out of power. I bought a huge system, so I'll never run out of power, but I've run out of power. Then he thought about it. How could I run out of power? Well, at first, before he thought about that, he ran around and turned off the inverter so it stopped screeching because he couldn't think with that thing on. But it was still a dark and stormy night. And I thought about it for a while. Our wonderful hero, he's being so wise and good looking too. Our hero thought, well, we've had a storm going for a long time, and I guess I'm not getting enough power. And I'm using the most power that I have ever used. And so, my big system isn't big enough. And I ran out of power. That's enough of the little storytelling, I guess. That got your hearts racing, I'm sure. So it had been raining and cloudy for a week, and I just wasn't getting any sun in. And in retrospect, I have too small a battery bank. I have a lot of solar, but way too small a battery bank. And so the batteries kept every night, they would go down a little more and then not get full because it was raining. And in the rain, you virtually get no power at all. And so I realized that my system didn't work for the amount of power use I had. And it was wintertime as well. So it was December. And in December, the sun's really low on the horizon. You're not getting much power. The days are very short. And so it just doesn't work well in the winter. I have a lot of solar. I have 720 watts on my roof. But in December, in the rain, those might as well be 720 rocks on the roof because they weren't bringing any power through the rain. And so I realized that I had not followed my own advice and sized my system for the worst possible times. And I'd increased my power usage by quite a lot. I'd added the Starlink. And I'm now really aware that if you try to run Starlink 24 hours a day, you're going to run out of power unless you've got a very big, good system. And it's not stormy for a week at a time. And I was running not just my fridge, but a full freezer. So I had two of them, and they were both running. And so here the inverter runs out in the middle of the night, and I've got a freezer full of food that I'm going to lose, and I got a fridge full of food I'm going to lose, and I don't have any power now. I don't have any internet now. It was very, very, very inconvenient. So I thought, have I been wrong all along about generators? If I had a generator right now, I could just pull that baby out and I'd be in business. And I guess this is my answer. I decided, yeah, maybe I've been wrong. Maybe there are times and places when a generator is really a very good solution. So today's video is the beginning of a long-term review of the Champion 2000 watt dual fuel generator. I'm going to run it. I'm going to be using it. I thought, well, I've been wanting to test AC units long-term, and that's really going to make a big difference. But really quickly, let me tell you the advantages to a generator that may make you think a generator could be a good part of my life. The first great advantage to a generator is storms. You get a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of rain, just start your generator and run it. Then the second reason is shade. If all my solar's on my roof, if I want power, I've got to park in the sun, and that makes my rig hot. Another really great reason is they are really cheaper per watt of power, much cheaper. So this is a 2,000 watt generator, but it's only putting out about 1,700 watts of power. But it was $500. This cost me $500, dual fuel, so it was a little more. You could pretty routinely buy a 2,000 watt inverter generator, which is what this is, for $400 or just a little bit less. So that's $400 to between $400 and $500 for 1,500 watts of power. Well, 1,500 watts of solar is $1,500. You can figure $1 a watt, and if you're lucky, you can get it for a little less. So it is much cheaper power than solar. Installation. If you want to put in a real solar system, you got to install it. What if you don't know how to install it? You don't have the tools. You don't have the skills. You're afraid to get up on the roof. You don't have enough room on your roof. So in that way, you just buy this, put the oil in it, start her up, you run it. Installation, it couldn't be any simpler on a generator. And that is a huge thing. If you have to pay someone to install your solar power system, then you've not only invested double or triple the amount of money for the generator versus solar, you're paying $1,000, $2,000 to have someone install it on your rig. Another great thing I love about the generator is you can run an AC. If you're someplace where it's hot, you get one of these, you run an AC, easy as pie. You can run a microwave. I run a microwave off my solar without any problem. When I ran out of power that dark and stormy night, I didn't run my microwave. I didn't use it for the whole week. Boy, there's a lot of great reasons to think about a generator. So why? Now let's talk about this generator. Why did I choose the Champion? Champion was kind of the original Honda clone. Honda's the big name, but they're very expensive, super high quality, super durable. They are going to last you forever. For the long as I've been making YouTube videos, I've told you to buy a Honda. They're $1,000. They're just simply going to cost you $1,000 or more. They're more like $1,400 now. This is $400 to $500. They get fantastic reviews on Amazon. I think Champion was, when I decided I was going to buy a generator, I wanted the Champion. Now, the next thing that stands out about this inverter generator means it's quiet. That's the main thing. And so these are very quiet generators. They're just as quiet as the Honda. The Honda doesn't have any advantages over these clones, and basically that's what they are. They found a Honda and they reproduced it. The only advantages it has is that the durability. Honda quality is just going to be superior to this. One of the biggest reasons why I do not like generators is you've got to carry gas. That means carrying gas in a gas can. That means spills. That means smells. That means it seeps out. I hate carrying gas in a gas can. Gas is very volatile. It's extremely flammable, extremely ready to ignite and burn you to death. And it's dirty. It's a dirty fuel. And by that, I mean, if it's in your tank for very long, it's going to gum up. It's just such a pain carrying gasoline. That alone has kept me from buying a generator and still would today. But these dual fuels eliminate that problems. Dual fuel meaning you can just plug it right into propane. This is dual fuel, so it comes with the regulator to go into your propane tank. Or you can just unplug it, switch it over, it's got a simple switch, over to gas, pour gas in it and run it right off your gas. I'm carrying propane no matter what. And so if I'm carrying propane, adding the generator is not a sacrifice. It's not going to gum up like that. It's not going to go bad in 2, 3, 4, 5 months. It's not going to get full of water and not run. I'm not going to buy bad propane. I've never heard of such a thing, buying bad propane. So the dual fuels, really being practical, has convinced me that I wanted the Champion because they've been making dual fuels for a really long time. They're really, really good at it. Let me just say right away, there are some real negatives to propane, I can't tell you the goods without the bads. It's got to carry it around. It's 40 pounds. You've got to fit the thing in there. You've got to start it every time, unless you buy electric, and then you're a lot more money and a much bigger unit. You're going to change the oil every 10, 20, 30 hours. That's a pain in the butt. At some point, it's going to have to go into the shop to be repaired. That's a pain in the butt. So it's not all peaches and cream. There are definite reasons not to. Those have been overwhelming. And the problem with the fuel on top of all that, I wouldn't buy one. So let's look at this Champion inverter generator, the beginning of a long-term review. I cut the bottom off so I could get it out of there real easily. This is brand new. Never seen the light of day before. Boy, that's a nice piece of packaging. It packages really well. And again, Champion has been around since 2003. So if the unit is shipped completely dry, there's no oil in it, there's no gas in it, you wouldn't want either one in it, obviously. So it comes with its own half a liter bottle of oil. And so you just pour it in, and it's pour in the gas or hook it up to propane, and it's ready to start the first time. So if you know propane bottles at all, this just plugs right into your propane bottle. This goes right onto the generator. I hope bright yellow is one of your colors. Actually, I kind of liked it being bright yellow. I didn't mind. And so there it is. And then attached on this side is the manual. So two more things I found in the in packaging was a funnel, and I'm almost certain that this goes into the oil, because the oil is then set a little bit, so you just pour the oil down there. It's a spout for the oil. So it also comes with this standard USB dongle that plugs into a cigarette lighter plug. Your gas goes in here. So here is your the side panel, which gives you pretty darn good access to nearly everything you want. This just pops off. This is a little better than the Honda. The Honda doesn't pop on and off nearly that well. Here's your oil fill, your carb, basically your engine. This must be the air filter. So here you have a 20 amp fuse. If you ever blow a fuse, that's easily replaced. Here you have the echo and full power. So if you want to run it on echo mode, so it defaults down to idling. Another fuse. I'm not exactly sure why there are two fuses, but there are. So this is off. You turn it off here. This is propane. You can see that that's a little propane tank. And on this side is the little gasoline. Looks like a gasoline pump. And then over here is the choke. That's kind of a universal sign for a choke. Here is the 12 volt outlet, and it comes with a handy little USB. So now that's how you're going to get your USB ports. They're not built in. This is the inlet for the propane. And here are the two dual link. It says Paralink here. You'll get a box with two cords, one to go to this generator, one to go to the other generator, and they are mix and match. You can connect the 2500 and the 2000 together. Here you have your standard 110 outlets. So there you have your power. So this goes into this hole right there. Just snaps in. And then to get it off, you just you have to pull down. These ball bearings catch. This, you just push it down and it pops off. Very simple system. And that's it. That's about all the controls you got. One thing to be well aware of is that propane is not as volatile. It has less BTUs, British thermal units, per unit of propane versus gasoline. So you get less power out of propane than you do out of gasoline. That's one of the reasons why it's so much safer, is because it doesn't want to explode on you, and it just doesn't have all the problems. But that's a huge disadvantage in that it produces less power. So you take the same engine and you run it on gasoline, you get your power level. And then if you put it over on propane, that power level is going to drop. You're not going to get nearly as much. So this is a 2000 watt generator, but that means it's 2000 watt at peak. It can't run 2000 watts continuously. Now, here on the side, it lists the different amounts of power it produces. Steady state, it will constantly run gas and propane. Let me show you that. Okay, so when it's on gasoline, it produces 1700 watts as a steady amount. You can take 1700 watts out of there. You see, that's this number. And this number is propane. And it drops down to 1530 because propane produces less power. So that is a disadvantage. And when you buy one of these, any dual fuel, you have to know what the lower number is and make sure that's enough. 1500 watts is plenty for me. That's going to run anything I could possibly want to run, but it may not be for you. And that's also why they've jumped the newer ones. This is still available. It's not old. There's just newer ones up to 2500 so that you're getting a full amount that you're kind of expecting out of this size of a generator. But just be aware that about 1500 watts is all you're going to get out of propane, and 1700 watts is all you're going to get out of gasoline as a steady state. So as long as your item will run on 1500 watts or less, you're good to go. So if you want to avoid that story of your own, it was a dark and stormy night and you were woken up out of bed and you jumped up and said, "What is that noise?" And then you realized it was your inverter telling you that you're out of power, you're out of power. If you'd like to avoid that, this is a good way to do that. Okay, I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, like us on YouTube, subscribe to that channel, hit that thumbs up button. Why not? Beat that thing. And we'll talk to you later. Bye now.